Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It's Crystal Irom here. And we are talking about this very common anxiety, fear, doubt thing that comes up for a lot of people in dating, which is this fear of choosing the wrong person, this idea that I could make a mistake, I could choose the wrong person. And this comes up in so many stages of dating and relationships, starting from when you're dating someone, starting even before you're dating someone, starting from like when you're even considering going out with someone. It's like, oh, what if I really shouldn't go out with them? Or like, oh, what if it's such a mistake not to go out with this person, where we can really overanalyze and get sucked into this just sort of swirling cycle of thoughts, right? Where it's like we're not really moving forward, we're not having that clarity that we desire, and we're just sort of feeling stuck and lost and like we need the answers. So, I want to break down how you can ease some of that, how you can sort of choose the right person, and how you can make those decisions and feel really clear and confident about them. If you don't know me, I'm Crystal Irom. I'm the creator of the School of Manifesting Love, the premier love manifestation and dating program for women. I share content on understanding men and the masculine, dating as a high value woman, and manifesting love. So if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please take a moment and do that. Also, be sure to hit that bell so that you get the notifications because I don't want you to miss anything. So, this is something that I have heard come up a lot with women where they're just afraid they're going to choose the wrong person. They're afraid of making a major mistake about their partner, essentially. And so, I want to go through about four different shifts that you can make, four things that you can do essentially to release some of that, to soften that, and to make it so that you feel more confident and certain in your choices. So, number one, the first thing, you're gonna let go of the idea that there is a right and a wrong. Okay. You're gonna let go of the idea that there's a right and a wrong. This is really, really powerful and important to understand because here's what most of us do in our minds. We think there's a right choice and there's a wrong choice. Therefore, it's possible for me to make the wrong choice. And if I make the wrong choice, it means that I've now chosen the wrong person. I don't get to have the love that I want. I don't get to have the relationship that I want because I made the wrong choice. Right. And it sort of implies that, like, if there's a right and wrong, then someone knows what the right or the wrong is. Right. This idea that I could get it wrong, someone else may know better than me. It's putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. It's putting a lot of pressure on getting it right, on making the right decision, on choosing the right person, on not making that mistake. It is a lot of pressure. And that kind of pressure, it leads to so much doubt, so much confusion, so much anxiety, right? Like a lot of the fear we're just creating ourselves by thinking, I could be getting it wrong. I could have made the wrong choice. Someone else might have made the right choice and I made the wrong choice. What we're doing essentially is we are telling ourselves stories. We are repeating these thoughts that make us feel like we don't get to have what we want. Like we are not going to be happy. If I make the wrong choice, then I'm probably not going to be happy, right? It puts a lot on it. It's like everything sort of hinges on getting this right. So you want to just start by just letting it go. Because the truth is there is no right or wrong. It's just about a choice that you make. And that's the fun part. Like you get choice in all of this. You have total choice in all of this. You get to choose. You get to choose whatever you want. So the thing is, then, it's not really about like making the right choice or making the wrong choice. It's about you making a choice that you can really fully get behind. You making a choice that you can feel good about, that you can feel proud of, where you can feel like, oh, yes, this was great. Now, the thing that we have to do in that case is that we have to continuously choose our choice, right? Like when we make a choice early on in a relationship, after a couple of years, it may feel like the wrong choice. And it's not per se that the choice was ever wrong. It's not per se that the choice that you made initially wasn't the right one. It's that you stopped choosing it. You have allowed whatever circumstances are taking place to now carry more weight than the choice that you made. So this really leads into the next thing, which is that instead of thinking of getting it right or wrong, you want to decide, what am I committed to? What am I committed to? And so This is really important to understand because this is sort of about like, how are you going to set boundaries in your relationship? Like, what are you going to stand for? For some people, what they're committed to is they say, I'm committed to making this relationship work absolutely no matter what. I don't care what comes up. I don't care what changes. No matter what, I am committed to making this relationship work. Some people will say, so I have a couple of deal breakers here. And so long as this person doesn't break one of my deal breakers, they don't break the deal, then I will be committed to that extent. So long as they don't break these deal breakers, then I'm going to do whatever I can take to make the relationship work. Some people will say, I'm committed to this relationship. I'm committed to making it work so long as I feel like it. And if I don't feel like it, then I'm going to stop. So however you want to approach it is fine. Like it's really up to you. You're the only one living your life and you're the only one having your own experience, but you have to make the choice. You have to get clear on like what am I committed to? So the reason that this is really powerful is that it allows you to move back into your own power where you're recognizing consistently, I have power in this. I have choice in all of this. This relationship isn't happening to me. This person that I'm dating isn't just happening to me. Like I'm choosing them and I will continue choosing them until this particular thing happens, where you sort of have clarity on like, what is the path for me? Like, how am I going to have things unfold? What am I committed to? So, the third thing, which is really closely related to this, is not making just like, do I feel like it or happiness the only criteria for whether or not you are going to be with someone. And the reason I say this is because happiness is really your own responsibility. So there's two big reasons. One is that your happiness is your responsibility. And when you are you happy, it puts you in this very sort of capricious position because our happiness goes up and down. So the first thing is that because it's really your responsibility to make you happy. And the second thing is that because it's your responsibility to manage your own happiness, you want to be able to sort of recognize and understand that like you are creating your own happiness. This is really a challenge for a lot of people because we always talk about like how other people are making us feel. Like she made me mad, she made me happy, he makes me so happy. Um, we tend to put the way that we feel on another person. And what we really mean is that the way that this person behaved, I had thoughts about that. And based on the thoughts that I had about the way that person behaved, I felt a certain way. And so we say, I felt sad because of what he did. But what it really means is that the thoughts that I had about this behavior made me feel sad. It's always coming from within us. And it's really interesting when you think about it because it's like when you're looking at another person, they're not feeling your feelings. You're feeling your feelings, right? Like they can't make you feel something. Those are your feelings. You get to have them. Just like you can't make another person feel something. Everyone's entitled to their feelings, but that's why it's so invalidating when someone's like, well, you shouldn't feel that way. Oh, you have nothing to be upset about. And we're just like, no, of course I have something to be upset about. And we do. And the reason that we can say that, and actually it makes sense that we say that, is because like the other person doesn't know what thoughts we are having in our own mind that are leading to the way that we feel. So, all of this is to say that if you're saying, I'm going to be with the person who makes me happy, it's a lot of pressure to put on another person, and it's not really going to last because they cannot make you happy. You are the one who has the power and control over your own thoughts. So, the way that you're going to stay happier in a relationship is if you focus on being happy in a relationship. If you focus on thoughts that make you happy, if you focus on consciously creating the feelings that make you happy. Now, there is an element of, our hormones. There's chemicals that take place in our body when we meet someone, we start to fall in love. And it's true that we don't have complete saying and sort of how those play out and how those hormones all mix together. But the truth is that those only really come into play, especially in a strong way, for a certain amount of time. For most people, the effects of them are going to wear off by 2 years. And that's like being generous. For some people, it's 6 months. So if you're just sort of chasing after this feeling of being madly in love, right? Like, oh, I have such butterflies. You're feeling that like high, then it's kind of like chasing a high where you're always going to want to have that feeling and you're not necessarily always going to be able to create that. So you want to make a more conscious and deliberate effort towards your own happiness. So it's like if you take the pressure off of the choice where it's like, I can choose right or I can choose wrong, I could potentially mess this up. And you decide what you committed to, and then you take responsibility for your own happiness. When you're taking those steps, like you're not going to get it wrong. Like you can't get it wrong in that case, right? Because it's like over and over again, you are making choices, you're asserting your own power, your own dominion within your life and over the way that things unfold for you. And the last thing that I want to mention is this sort of question that you can ask yourself, which is basically just, what is the worst that could happen? Right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? Sometimes when we are afraid of something, we're having this idea that like something could really go horribly awry. Like, this terrible thing could happen. I know that something awful could happen. And it makes it very scary. Like, of course, we don't want to risk this thing that we're afraid of happening. Like, what if, what if, what if? Sometimes, though, we can sort of hold the fear and stop it from taking over so much when we actually slow down and ask ourselves, like, well, what would happen if this happened? Like, what is the worst that could happen? Like, actually look at it. What is the worst possible thing? Because when we do that, we can more easily see that, like, oh, this actually isn't so bad. Like, this isn't such a big deal. Like, the worst that could happen, I could still handle. Like, I could still deal with the worst thing that could possibly happen. So, that is just a couple of really simple shifts that you can make that can release some of that fear, that can make it not feel so heavy, right? This idea that it's not really about getting it wrong or getting it right. It's just a choice that you make, and you can commit to that choice and you can choose that choice over and over again. And then you can take responsibility for your own happiness, for your own feelings and your own thoughts instead of constantly putting them on another person. And then just allowing yourself to really ask the question, like, what is the worst that could happen? Because there's a good chance it's not all that bad. So before I end, I want to let you know about a couple of things. If you want to take this work deeper, if you really want to understand this at a much deeper level, if you want to call in that love that you truly desire, then I invite you to join me for the School of Manifesting Love. That is my signature course, and it is a really, really powerful way to work with women. It's a powerful way that I work with women. It is through a 6 module course, and I really walk you through all of the steps to manifest the love that you want. For anyone who's interested in working with me in a much higher level and actually having coaching and feedback from me, then I also have my mastermind, which is called Extraordinary Love. I only enroll that several times a year, but I do keep a waitlist rolling so that when enrollment opens, um, you're able to get off the waitlist and actually join the program. So if that's something that you might be interested in, I can share details with you about that as well. And then I also have a really incredible free training. The free training is really the best introduction to my work, to my approach to manifesting love. And you can take the free training at magnetismformula.com. It's a fantastic training. It's really very succinct, not a lot of fluff, just giving you everything you need to know about manifesting love. So, those are a couple of ways that I can help you, that I can take this work deep. So I'm not seeing any questions come up. If this is the first time that you're watching me, I really hope that you will subscribe, that you'll hit that bell so that you can get the notifications. And if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely do that. You can add me at Crystal Irom over on Instagram. And I will be back here on YouTube with more live streams. I've got a lot of incredible content coming, for the end of the year and going into next year. And it's just going to be amazing. So thank you so much for those of you who tuned in with me live. And I will see you in the next video.